This event happened more than a century ago, but even so, it's never been forgotten by the families of those who lived through it. The story actually took place in Nebraska, but many similar stories across the upper Midwest of the United States could be told about that fateful day, January 12th, 1888.
January, huh? Sounds like a pretty cold time of year in those parts.
Oh, yes, cold and prone to terrible blizzards, especially back in those days. But strangely enough, on this particular morning,
Well, go on, Aunt Carol.
Well, before I begin, I need to tell all of you that we don't have the real names of the children, but we do know the real name of the teacher in my story and what happened to their little schoolhouse that day.
I see.
Also, we don't know exactly how many students attended this particular little sod schoolhouse.
Sod?
That's right. Since there were virtually no trees but only open grasslands, settlers cut the sod into squares and stacked the squares like bricks to build their houses, until more permanent structures could be built. Even the school in our story was made of these sod strips.
Very interesting.
Anyway, no one is sure just how many students attended there. The numbers range from 9 to 19, but 13 students seems to be the most widely accepted, so I'm going to use that number.
All right.
And we know much about the kind of lives these students and their parents lived, so I'm going to take the liberty of naming some of the children and mixing in a little imagination in order to give you the true facts and the wide, far-reaching scope of this episode on the great American prairie.
Fair enough, Aunt Carol. What do you call your story?
I call it The School Children's Blizzard. Near the little town of Ord, Nebraska, the morning of January 12, 1888, broke strangely misty and warm. In fact, all across the region, a stiff southerly breeze pushed the temperatures to 40 or more degrees warmer than the temperatures of the previous day. The change was more than welcome. People flung open the doors of their sod houses to breathe in the mild air, which in some places had risen to well above the freezing mark. That morning, 19-year-old schoolteacher Minnie Freeman, who boarded with the Kellison family, came to breakfast with a smile on her face.
What a glorious day!
That it is, Miss Freeman. Why, when I went out to milk this morning, I half believed that spring had sprung.
Not much chance of that. But maybe this is our January thaw?
It certainly feels like it.
I guess that means you'll be going out for supplies today, John.
Well, Lena dear, I can't pass up an opportunity like this. We've been hunkered down with cold and snow for weeks now.
My students will be excited. I expect they'll all be able to make the walk to school today. Even the little ones.
At least they won't freeze to death out there today. They might not even need their winter coats.
Meanwhile, at the nearby home of Jens and Olga Carlson and their 3 children, Johann, age 16, Peter, age 13, and Elsie, age 7.
But I don't want to wear my mittens and hat.
Now, Elsie, no more arguing. I know it's warm out today, but you never know what's going to happen on this godforsaken prairie. Between the prairie fires and the grasshoppers and the hail and the blizzards.
No, Mother, just relax. It's nice and warm today. It feels like April. Besides, if I don't miss my guess, the sun will be out soon.
Maybe so. But we've already buried 3 children since we've been here. Niels and Nicholas and baby Anna. And I don't intend to lose any more.
But this isn't the same... Elsie, wear your mittens and your hat.
All right, Papa.
And your scarf. Don't forget that either.
Don't worry, Mama.
Good. Where are Johann and Peter? They should have been back from the barn by now.
They're letting the cows outside into the fresh air. Elsie, you run along. Your brothers will be waiting for you. See, there they are now.
Bye, Papa. Bye, Mama.
Oh, Jens, there's something wrong about this day. Look out there. It's almost golden.
A golden day, Olga. Now, who could ask for anything better than that?
What Olga and Jens, the Kellisons and Minnie Freeman did not know, in fact, what none of the folks in that entire region knew, was that Thomas Woodruff, the weather officer in charge of collecting information and making forecasts for the upper Midwest, had already begun to see a strange weather pattern develop as of 11 p.m. the previous night. There was an enormous low-pressure system that was beginning to descend from Canada on the heels of a pocket of high pressure. Temperatures in the west were rising very rapidly, and the pressure readings were alarming.
McCaddy? Alex? Come over here for a second, will you?
Coming, Mr. Woodruff. What is it?
Take a look at this, will you? See here?
That's very interesting.
It looks like that reading from northern Montana wasn't a mistake after all. The pressure is still falling out there, Alex. I don't think I've ever seen it fall that rapidly.
I see you've mapped out the pressure isobars.
Yes, well, it's pretty clear that the wind is going to be stiff.
Very stiff, I'd say, sir. And what's this?
Yeah, I know. The temperature in Helena should be falling, but instead, it's rising.
Exactly.
That's a comfort, really, at least in some ways.
How so, sir?
Well, maybe the expected deep cold won't develop behind the low-pressure system after all. Still, it's quite strange.
The Upper Midwest forecast Lieutenant Woodruff issued for January 12th called for snow and rising temperatures, followed by fresh winds and falling temperatures. Communications and the development of weather models were in their infancy at that time, and Lieutenant Woodruff could not know that at Fort Assiniboine, far to the northwest, the weather observer had just watched in astonishment as a strange phenomenon, something he had never before seen, appeared before his eyes.
What in the world? The wires are flashing. The light is dancing all around them. Electricity is crackling into the air. The wires look almost alive with electricity.
Clearly, something very unusual was underway. Evidently, the colliding high and low pressure systems had supercharged the very air. Lieutenant Woodruff also could not know that after he and Sergeant McGaddy left their post at midnight, bone-chilling hurricane-force winds were already beginning to sweep into the northernmost areas of his watch. His forecast gave no hint of the disaster about to befall the prairie, yet, given the information he had at the time, he did the best he could. And so, ignorant of any real danger, school children across the northern tier of states nearly frolicked on their way to school that day in the wonderful warm weather. Soon, for example, the students in Minnie Freeman's little school were all assembled.
Did you do your homework?
Children, settle down.
Teacher, did you wear your winter coat today?
Elsie, please. It's time for reading. Joshua, Lars, Katie, Johan, all of my older students to the front of the room, please. The rest of you know what to do. Open your McGuffey readers, and I'll be around soon to help you.
Why do we have to do this?
If everyone works quickly this morning, maybe we can have a few extra minutes at lunch to enjoy the weather. Quickly now, children. Let's get started.
All that morning, the students in the little sod schoolhouse worked hard so they could enjoy their noon hour. Throughout the morning, students followed their teacher's instructions quickly and efficiently.
Time for spelling. Maggie, Caleb, Jeb to the front, please. Oh, and Johan, would you please refill the scuttle? I know we haven't used much fuel this morning, but we should always be sure to have plenty on hand.
Sure, Miss Freeman, but I don't think we'll be needing it today.
Be prepared, Johan. That's my motto. It's a comfort to know that everything is in order. Now hurry along, and when you're done, perhaps you can help the 4th and 5th graders with their mathematics.
Right away, Miss Freeman.
Finally, when the noon hour had nearly arrived,
All right, you've all done very well. Let's hurry now and eat our lunches, and then we can go outside. The sun is shining brightly through the south window. What a beautiful day.
Maybe all the snow will be melted.
Well, Peter, I doubt that, but I'm sure it's quickly disappearing.
Can we play tag?
Or ball? Great idea, Lars. Hey, look! It suddenly went dark outside.
Teacher, look!
I see. It's almost black. What's happening?
Miss Freeman! The door!
It's been ripped off its hinges!
Miss Freeman?
Yes, Quickly! Johann, Lars!
Miss Freeman, it's cold.
I know, Elsie. Children, everyone but my big boys, get in the back corner away from the wind.
Minnie Freeman's schoolhouse had just experienced the leading explosive blast of the blizzard of 1888. All across the prairie, the storm was advancing with such suddenness and such ferocity that even those well acquainted with the cruel winters of the region were stunned. If they were outdoors, they might first have seen a black cloud arise in the northwest, and then would have watched in amazement as, without warning, it thundered across the prairie nearly twice as fast as a horse could run. Beckoned outdoors by the unseasonably warm morning, many ranchers and farmers were caught in the midst of chores which they had put off for weeks. Now suddenly they found themselves in the most extreme danger.
Whoa! Whoa there, Blaze! Steady! I can't see anything. Anything at all. Even my hands. And the snow, it's not even in flakes. It's a blast of white powder. Stinking ice crystals. How will I ever get home?
Many others, risking their own safety, braved the storm in order to save a precious cow or horse, for they knew that their existence was so marginal that the loss of even one animal could mean disaster for the family.
But Gunther, you can't go out there. You can't see anything.
Is Papa going out in the big storm, Mama?
You'll be blinded. Gunther, the snow is like powder, and the wind.
I've got to get the cow in the barn, Helga.
What's a cow? Is a cow more important than you? Stay inside, please.
Without the cow, the little ones will starve.
Gunther, no, don't.
I'm going. I have to.
Follow the side of the house to the fence.
Don't worry. I'll keep my hand on it. And on the fence until I get to the barnyard.
You'll be lost. I just know it. Gunther. Gunther. Gunther! Oh, he's going to be lost. What can I do? What can I do? I know. I'll get the kettle and bang on it with the ladle. Maybe he'll be able to hear that to find his way back inside. Axel, quickly. Here, crawl in bed with baby Erica.
Yes, Mama.
There. Good. Now cover up. Good.
Are you going outside too, Mama?
No, but I'm going to open the door. You stay under the covers and keep warm. Gunther! Gunther!
The storm swallowed up everyone in its wake as it exploded across the plains. Many were lost in the whirling, blinding hurricane of powder-fine pulverized ice crystals, some within just a few feet of their doorsteps. And many school teachers were faced with a terrible decision, whether to dismiss their children into the face of the storm and hope they could make it home, or to keep everyone in the schoolhouse and hope they could all be rescued before they froze to death in bitter cold, for the temperature had dropped 18 degrees with the first blast of the storm and continued to plummet as the moments ticked by. Although only 19 years old herself, schoolteacher Minnie Freeman knew she was responsible for the lives of her children. She quickly responded to the emergency of having the schoolhouse door ripped from its leather hinges. Soon, she and her older students were busy repairing the damage.
Hold it tight, Lars. Put your shoulder against it, Joshua. You too, Peter.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Miss Freeman.
And Johann, drive the nails back in. Here's the hammer.
I can feel the wind still trying to push the door in.
I hope it will hold. If we can keep the door shut, at least then we can keep the schoolroom warm enough for us to survive.
I hope so. It sure got cold fast. Whew. There. That should hold it.
Very good. All right now, children. Everyone to your seats.
Miss Freeman, can't we go home?
No, Elsie. I have no intention of sending any of you out in this blizzard. It's the worst I've ever seen. And all of our lives would be in danger if we dared step outside.
So, what are we going to do?
We're going to stay calm. We're going to be smart. And we're going to survive. We have enough fuel to last all night long.
I'm sure glad you had me bring in more coal this morning.
But what about food? We don't have much to eat, and we'll be hungry.
Better hungry than frozen to death on the prairie, Peter. Besides, we all still have our lunches. So let's each one divide our lunch into two. We'll eat half now and half later.
The door! It's been ripped off again!
Quickly, Johann, grab the hammer. Lars, Joshua, help!
Yes, Miss Freeman!
Yes, Miss Freeman!
Peter, push my desk this way. As soon as we have the door nailed shut, push the desk against the door.
Yes, ma'am.
There. That should hold it. You've nailed it all around. The hinges were too weak for this wind. But now that the entire door is nailed securely shut, we should be all right.
Miss Freeman, look!
The roof!
Oh no! The wind has stripped the sod off one corner of the roof!
And it's ripping the tar paper underneath!
Children! Quickly, all of you! Move back away from the corner!
Miss Freeman, look! Yeah, the whole roof is going.
The stove could never keep us warm now.
What are we going to do, Miss Freeman?
Children, quickly! Everyone! Get your coats on. Your mittens, hats, scarves, everything you have. We'll have to try to get to shelter. We'll freeze if we stay here.
I only wear my jacket. It was so warm this morning, we didn't need to wear warm clothes. I'm already freezing cold.
I know, Emma. I know.
I'm sure glad Mama made me wear my hat and mittens.
Yes, Elsie.
And my scarf.
Children, hurry! Get ready. The longer we wait, the colder we'll be.
The children scurried to get their coats and jackets. Already they were shivering in the ferocious wind that had now stripped away all of the sod and tar paper, as well as the supporting boards from their schoolhouse roof.
All right, little ones to the front. Good. Good. All right, children. We're going to go to the Kellisons where I board. It's only a half mile to the north, but it will be very difficult to walk against the wind. We'll have to walk as quickly as we can to stay warm.
My hands are so cold. Here, Emma, take one of my mittens. I'll wear the other one and keep one hand in my pocket.
Thank you, Elsie. Johann.
Yes, Miss Freeman, I'm here.
We'll have to go through the south window. The door is nailed shut now, and we can't get out that way. You and Lars crawl through first. Peter and I will hand the little ones out to you. Lars, here, take this rope.
Yes, ma'am.
As we hand the children out, you tie this rope around their waists. That will help all of us stay together so that no one gets lost in the storm.
All right.
Now, out you go.
Soon the group was assembled outside, sheltered slightly on the south side of the schoolhouse.
All right. Now everyone stay together. Johann and Lars, you're my biggest boys, so you bring up the rear. Make sure none of the others stray away from the group. And lock your arms together so you know where the other one is.
Yes, ma'am.
Children, hold on to the rope. The wind is going to be worse when we go to the other side and start toward the Kellisons. You'll hardly be able to see, so keep your heads down. And keep moving!
The minute the group rounded the corner of the schoolhouse, they were nearly blown off their feet. The icy crystalline snow powder was so fine that it was driven through their clothes, stinging their skin underneath. Miss Freeman led the children, and yet she seemed to be everywhere, urging the group on, encouraging them, prodding them.
Keep going, children! No, Emma! Don't stop!
I can't see, teacher.
Hang on to the rope! Hold it tight, Emma! Johann! Are you there? Johann!
I'm here! We're coming!
Oh, children, don't stop! Hurry! Maggie, get up! Peter, quickly help me get Maggie to her feet!
You can do it, Caleb! Keep going! Elsie! Emma!
We're here, teacher.
Keep hold of the rope!
Like many other teachers, Minnie Freeman's goal was to deliver her children to the safety of a neighboring house or place of refuge. That same afternoon, many children, students of other small prairie schools located to the east and south of her schoolhouse, had already been dismissed for the day when the ominous black cloud appeared on the horizon. Before they could run to safety, the storm's first blast overtook them. Not being able to see more than a few inches in front of them, and many not being dressed to withstand the extreme temperature drop that accompanied the storm, scores of children died on the prairie that fateful day. Brothers and sisters tried to protect each other from the brutal weather, but wandered blindly and fell to the snow with their arms wrapped around each other. A fortunate few found haystacks, burrowed inside, and managed to survive, although their hands and feet were often badly frostbitten. Soon, Miss Freeman herself began to wonder if they were lost in the blinding maelstrom.
Surely we've walked far enough to reach the house. We're almost there, children! Don't give up!
Teacher, I'm cold.
If we've missed the house, we'll all be lost. My eyes keep freezing shut, and I've torn my skin trying to scrape the ice off. But, Lord, the little ones, please, please help us. What? Oh, praise God! It's a building! I just ran into a building! The Callisons! Children, we are saved!
It was almost a miracle that Minnie Freeman and her class had walked a half-mile into the blinding, raging teeth of the storm, and yet, amazingly, had found the Kellison home. Hundreds of others were not that fortunate. In fact, history tells us that nearly 500 people, schoolchildren, ranchers, farmers, mothers, and fathers, either perished in that storm or died as a result of their injuries and exposure to the extreme cold. The wind chill temperatures that night dipped to 60 below zero. But thanks to the bravery of one teenage teacher, every child in the Ord, Nebraska schoolhouse had been delivered to warmth and safety in the midst of the storm that came to be known as the School Children's Blizzard.